And Ron, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Black Girl Nerds Talks. Yay, we're back again. again. I'm Shenee, and...
Liz the movie girl.
Yep.
Hey guys.
Hello, and so this week we have two topics. The first topic is going to be, we're going to do a Star Trek review. I know you guys probably saw it last week. We're going to review it now. And we're going to talk about...
Idris, not.
Yes, exactly. In light of recent events. We're going to revisit it. And then also we're going to talk about some of our predictions or things we would like to happen in the DC movies. I think we're going to focus on DC movies in light of Comic-Con that just happened. So... let's get started. Okay, so Star Trek. I just saw it like an hour ago, so it's very fresh in my mind. Why don't you start? What did you think of it as a sort of a whole?
Yeah, so as a whole, I thought it was a fun, entertaining summer movie. Just a very quintessential popcorn flick. Mm-hmm. I was entertained by it. But ultimately, I didn't find it to be anything very special, you know?
Yeah.
There wasn't anything deep, which I didn't go to Star Trek for that.
Right.
But I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. Yeah, so I think those are the positives that I had. It was fun, it was entertaining, predictable, but still fun, and you like the characters. So, yeah. That's what I got. That's pretty much what I got. The good stuff.
That's the good stuff. Okay. I agree. I don't know if you're familiar with the show Star Trek. I don't know if did you ever watch the Star Trek show? For me, it felt like there's buttons and he only barks when we record, guys. He has not said a peep all day. He only barks when we're recording. It's crazy. Anyways, so it reminded me of a real Star Trek episode. It just felt like a really blown up Star Trek episode, which worked to its benefit because it felt really like an adventure. It was very entertaining. I felt like it was like watching TV on the screen. Like the experience kind of reminded me of watching like a Game of Thrones episodes, in that it's epic, but it's still like episodic. You know what I mean? Like it felt like an episode of Star Trek, and then like next week I'm supposed to watch another episode, which in some ways is really good because it was just so fun, and like everybody seemed very comfortable and in the pocket. Like everybody seemed very comfortable with the roles. I really liked the women representation in it. I felt like the women had a lot of speaking roles, like they were involved.
Right.
Things weren't happening to them. They were very active in the plot, which was really nice. You know, J.J. Abrams is the diversity warrior nowadays, so he's trying to make sure that all that stuff is happening. But yeah, so those are my positives. I really liked, it just felt like I really liked. My mom and I used to watch the Star Trek episodes together when I was growing up.
Oh.
So we saw it together, and I was just like, oh, this is like, and she loved it. Like she loved it she hasn't liked. I've gone to see a couple of the movies that we've watched this summer, and she hasn't liked any of them, and she liked this one.
She liked this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I echo everything you're saying. It did feel like a Star Trek episode. I wasn't a huge fan, but I definitely did watch some episodes of various seasons. So that I agree with that. And one thing, I just felt like it had a story. Like I don't know, like the last one just felt so kind of convoluted.
Yeah, that one was horrible. I didn't like it.
Yeah, and so I was just like, okay, there's just a clear story here.
Clear goals, character motivation, stuff like that. Yeah.
Clear goals, clear character motivations, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So do we want to get into the negatives then? We're moving. Look at us. 4 minutes.
Sure. This is a record. Yeah, so the thing I didn't like was it was the same old third act. The villain is trying to destroy some planet, and I just felt like they had created... Yeah, and it's just like, what, why?
It has to go.
And then, because I felt like they were doing something interesting, even though the story was pretty predictable, you could kind of, with the foreshadowing, you can see where it was going. It still ended up in it played along in an interesting way. But I just was like, man, I just really wish they had done something more interesting with this character. Yeah. And I felt like because he was connected to Starfleet and he was his former captain, why isn't his plan something more interesting and more, I don't know, Maybe if they took what they did in Star Trek Into Darkness and had that been this character's, because that would have made more sense to me.
Yeah.
Because like attacking Starfleet and like captains and killing off captains, that would have made sense to me because he used to be one, and this is like because it's all about. I guess you're supposed to kind of mirror Kirk what can happen when you're just
Right.
kind of aimlessly going in space and feeling left behind by Starfleet.
Right.
And I just like, man, I feel like you were on the right track, and then you just had the same old third act like
Yeah.
fight, and I was disappointed by that.
Yeah, the magical. I mean, my number one, just like spoiler alert, I'm so done with the magical thingy plot device. Like, it is every single. Marvel is especially notorious for this. Literally, it's the plot of every Marvel movie. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's
It's like
the
there's a
same. It's
magical
the same.
thingy. Everybody's trying to get the magical thingy because it can destroy some building or whatever. And I'm tired of it. Like, and I just felt like this film, it felt different. Like throughout when it was happening, it felt different. So I wish they would have stayed with that
Yeah.
difference instead of like curving. You know what I mean? Like I felt like it was.
Yeah.
It just made it. It really cheapened it because I was really with it the first two plots, and I still
I
enjoyed
was
it.
with it.
But
I did too.
I just am so tired of the magical thingy plot line. I don't like like the whole time I was like, what else could we? There's like so many different things you can do, and you have so much source material because you have the Star Trek. And it's the same thing. I say the same thing about the movies too. I'm like, there are so many comics. There's so many Iron Man comics. There's so many Thor comics. Why is it always the magical thingy? Like it doesn't make any sense. Like why they keep going to this plot device. So that was
Yeah.
my biggest problem with it too. Because I loved everything else. I just didn't like the villain and like I liked the villain himself. Like I liked
Yeah.
how he was like stealing the life out of people. That was very
Yeah.
Star Trek and just like the whole vibe of him. But his motivations didn't make sense to me. I was like,
Yeah.
so you want chaos or like war? Like what are we actually
Yeah, what are
fighting
you
for?
trying to do? Because you're just gonna destroy a planet, but it's not
Yeah, and
gonna
then those
stop us.
people.
I don't.
Yeah, and then you'll be dead too. So like, what are
Right.
we?
So what are we doing
I don't know,
here?
but I loved the character and like the way his face would change and stuff like that, and the way he talked. He was like really like gross and like intense and like
Yeah.
ominous. But
I really think they were doing something really good with the first two halves of the
yeah,
movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, the end was, it was fun.
yeah, it was
It was
fine.
fine. It was fine. It could have been better.
Could have been better.
But it was fun.
I mean, I loved the scene where the Enterprise was getting destroyed like piece by piece. I was
Yeah,
like,
that was
oh,
good.
it was like
That
so
was a great action
sad.
scene.
Yeah, that was
I
so
was
good.
like on the edge of my seat with that one because I was like, oh
They're
wait,
really gonna crash it.
how
Yeah.
are they gonna get out of this one?
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like you had this different. Like I feel like so many of these movies are really predictable, and like it was predictable, it was, but you did have this sort of like suspense of like how are they going to get off this planet? And I kind of wish that it was just like he's like this mad dude. He's there. He's taking people and he's killing them, and maybe he
Right.
wants to take their ship. So and maybe he's stuck there, and he wants to take the
Right.
ship so he can go kill more people so he can stay alive forever. That makes
Yeah,
more
see, I
sense to
think that would have
me.
been more interesting if
Yeah.
his goal was just to stay alive forever and be on
Right.
this planet and just make people miserable and
Yeah.
just felt like Starfleet was just
So screw them,
done,
and they're
like
like,
screw
yeah,
they forgot me, I forget them. I'm just gonna like
exactly.
do it. Like I think that would if it was more them trying to get off the planet and just like kind of focused in on that and didn't feel the need to do this whole big thing. I would have
Because I felt like
enjoyed.
them getting off was like such a good moment, and so it's like, well,
Yeah,
we could have just like, I don't know, like arced it there, where it's like, okay, we're off, we're there, like, oh, we made
yeah,
it, because that was such a good moment,
yeah.
and I felt like the energy really died down after when they actually got off the planet with that old
Yeah, and
ship.
also I felt like that if they had done it that way, it might have been a good mirror to because Idris's character, I'm forgetting, Crawl,
Yeah, Carl. Yeah,
his character is kind of supposed to be a mirror to Kirk and like what he could possibly be. So I think if they had like really contained it, he would like getting off the planet might have been like, okay, that's not going to be me. That's
yeah,
not going to
exactly. Like he's like,
be.
then it makes sense because like that whole his arc comes a little too late, like
Yeah,
Kirk's arc. So it was really interesting, and I also thought that it seems like I think it seems like editing that the Uhura and Spock relationship is really like heavily edited. I think
yeah,
there's probably more scenes that we haven't seen that show that dynamic because we didn't really get to see that too much. But it's hard when you have so many characters. You have such a big cast. You can only
yeah.
balance it so much.
I'm curious about what's going on with that because How do you feel about that relationship? I wonder if I've actually seen this before, but
I don't know. Like it's, I don't know. Like I remember when it first happened, I thought it was cool because it's like a
yeah,
deviation from the stuff. But I don't know. Like
yeah,
it's, I mean, like, I mean, this is weird. I mean, the two actors don't have any chemistry, so that makes it harder. Like, I feel like they don't have that much chemistry, but it's hard because they're both playing. Well, he's playing cold, so maybe that's why. But I think it's cute. But I just don't. I wish they would have either taken it further and like shown that tension more.
yeah. I liked it in the first movie a lot. The second movie, again, the second movie,
Yeah, the second movie is
but
just like.
yeah. But I just felt like, oh, I wish there was a little bit more
More
going
of
on
it,
there. But
yeah.
they were like breaking up, so it was kind of awkward. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I definitely think that the first,
Spoilers. Sorry.
yeah, in the first they had more chemistry, and this one it felt like they just were like not even like it felt
Not
like
trying.
it almost felt like a friendship to me, at least. So, anyway, that's our comments on Star Trek. You can let us know what you think about Star Trek. But I think overall we say it's like really fun to see at the theater, especially like it feels like a roller coaster ride. But the third act is very, you know,
Typical.
typical. So that's it for that. So now we're going to move on to comic book movies.